This is Patricia Huddle, and I'm in the middle of adding the coding into this file, and there were a few things that happened that I thought would be worthwhile to bring up at this point. This is the same file that I was working on. However, I did a little bit of consolidation on my timeline. I brought my labels and actions and buttons all into the same layer. In the previous movie, the labels were on a separate layer. And the reason that I consolidated them was because I wanted this to be a little tighter. And in my actions window, if the actions exist on the same layer as the labels, I can see them in here. Of course, you only see the layers that actually have actions on them in your scene view that's in the actions window, but still, it can be helpful as you're going through and you can see what the names are and where you're at. And it's especially handy for when you add scripting later that goes back to other frames. Another thing that I did was everything was living in one frame, and it became very difficult to see the label names. So I went through and I added additional frames in, and the easiest way to do this is not dragging. It's to select a column, and I did that holding down the Shift key, and then I'm clicking with my control key down for the contextual menu, and I'm going insert frame. And what that does is it adds a frame down the entire length of that area. And I'm going to do that here as well so you can see this again. So I'm clicking in the top layer, holding down the Shift key, selecting in the bottom layer, and then control. I released the Shift key, and now I'm holding control and do insert frame. And I'll just do that one more time. Select in the top frame, hold down the Shift key, select in the bottom, release the Shift key, click and hold the control key for the contextual menu, and then choose insert frame, and that extends it. And this just makes it easier to read those label names when you do that. So it's not a necessity. In fact, many people don't like to do that because they don't like their timeline going out too far. So it's your personal choice. And you can have it be different lengths. For example, here in the clue 1, I can read clue 2, clue 3 with only 2 frames, but I couldn't read the how to play. And for whatever reason, the ready was difficult for me to see as well. So nobody's going to see this except for you, so it's about this being arranged in a way that makes it easy for you to work. Now, another thing I wanted to point out just about this whole thing with the naming conventions, I had said in the previous movie that it's perfectly fine if you want to use frame numbers, but I preferred labels, and I really didn't get into why that is, but the reason is exactly what happened here. When I expanded this movie, the location that's to go to clue 1, well, clue 1 is down here at frame 10 now. And that's a problem because I have to go back and I have to change this. And if I expand my timeline again or I make any other additional changes, I would have to go back in and change my code. So I have labels, I have label names. I might as well be using them because it's going to be easier for me to keep my movie correct. So I'm going to go and do this throughout my previous frames where I used numbers and change those to the label names. And then on another point that came up, as I'm adding in my scripts, I was doing my copy and paste because that was easier to do. This is my clue 1 button, and I have my go to clue 2. It's important to remember that function names must be different if they are different functions. So on this screen, this one goes to clue 1. This is the function call. This is the function name. These two must match, and even if I copy and paste this script because I'm using it as a model, I have to change the function names because the instructions that are associated with them are different. So you see this is go to clue 2, go to clue 2, and that's what it does. So I'm going to add in my next script. Okay, and it goes on this, it's associated with this block here. And I have to go back and do my contextual copy and paste. Copy. Select in the cell for the new location. And the contextual paste. And I'm talking to, this is clue button 2, or clue 2 button. And now in all these other places, because I came up with a sort of family name for all these functions, go to clue 1, go to clue 2, this is go to clue 3. I only have to make a minor modification in my scripting. And then I get to this location, which is my final version. I'm going to do my contextual copy and paste, and I'm going to paste the script in here twice because I have two buttons. One is the correct answer and the other is the incorrect answer. And this is a good way to get around the issue of I did not want, this is a prototype, so I did not want to write all of the if-then-else statements for all of these. I don't, at this point know how this is going to play out, so I just want to keep it as simple as possible, which is why on the first one you click on any answer and it takes you to the next clue, and then this one I can actually demonstrate some seemingly decision-making scripting going on here, even though I'm not really doing that. So the first one is called the correct button, so I'm going to change its name to correct, and then that goes to the correct location. And so here you see that because I'm using similar naming, it makes this go very quickly. And actually it would probably go faster if I copy the script that I just wrote to change it to the incorrect. So I did the incorrect button, and I'm going to go to incorrect. And change that there. And then that's my correct screen. And once again, I have this level select, as well as an appearance of the home button again. And this is another important thing to remember. I have this home button on this screen. I'll just select on that and you can see that it's called home button. And then down here on, we'll go back to the correct one, I have another place that this also goes to the home. But I can't have this button have the same name as the one on the previous screen because this is a unique instance. So I have to give it a name that will indicate that this is that it appears on this screen. But the question becomes, do you need to write a whole unique script? Because we have a home script already written. Well, here's the answer. I'm going to copy that script. I'm on this screen. Do my contextual paste. And I called that button home correct because that's where this lives. The fact is, if I want to make another script on here and call it go to home 1, do the same thing here, just change that. That would be the most correct way to do things. However, sometimes we can do a shortcut. And I'm going to go to the incorrect screen that has a home button as well. Do my contextual paste. And I don't believe I changed the name on this one yet, so I'll have to do that. And you know what, I'm just going to comment these lines out for right now. And I'm just going to indicate that this should use the go to home script that was written for the previous movie that was right in the beginning. So let's see if that works. And we'll do a test movie on this. And fingers crossed. And I do have an error message, but it wasn't that. It was my select button. I guess I misnamed it. I called it level select. No, I'm just going to change the name here. It's a lot easier. And I'm going to use the command return on the keyboard to do the test movie. Okay, I did not get an error. About that script repeating. Let's see, this works. I know that this is the correct answer. I'm going to go to the incorrect. Has it? Click, and it goes back to home. So what does that prove? Well, it proves that if you have a function that you have written and it's appeared earlier on the timeline and the playback head does go through it, you can just recall that same function. You do not have to write a unique function like I did here. And to further make that point, I'm going to go back here and I'm going to eliminate this one. Because if I don't need to write extra scripts, I shouldn't. I should just save myself the time. And so this button here where I have the level select, I would still need to have the unique instances of the select button in my other places here in the movie, but I don't need to have new functions. So here's what I mean. On this screen, I have another select button. So I'm going to call this one select. I'm just going to call it select 1 for right now and change it down here. And then I'm going to go to my incorrect screen and I'm going to make this one select 2. Change this one. Again, I made these really long names. This is another reason why you want to make your names short. And other than the fact that I have this one screen here, okay, this has a level select and this has another home screen on here. You know, let's just test this movie. Okay, we know this all works. We tested this out already. And we see that that goes back. Click through. Oh, let's do that again. And let's choose the wrong one. Okay. And the only screen that we haven't dealt with is the actual credits, that I have buttons, but I don't have any scripting. So, here's your final tip. The buttons that exist on the incorrect screen are the same position and the same kind of items that exist on the previous screen. So what I could do is I could extend that artwork over the 2 frames. And that should work for me. However, I've had instances where that didn't work. So it's, you know, it's kind of, you're going to have to test it to see. But I've had people ask about that, you know, can you extend them? In versions of Flash, I have had it work. And in other versions of Flash, I haven't. And I have 4 versions of Flash on one of my other computers that I use, and which might seem excessive, except that I'm working on different kinds of files. And so because of that, I have the different versions, and things are different in the different versions. That's all I can say. So your mileage may vary depending on which version of Flash you're working in. I really tried to stick to things that I know consistently will work across the versions, so I hope that these movies have helped you. If you still have any questions, let me know, and I'll get a solution for you. So thanks for watching, and keep at the Flash. It'll be worth it.